are these people?
Again, reminding people that, hey, this isn't just Netanyahu. This didn't start October 7th. But when you hear the denials of, oh, it's not really genocide, they're whatever, the statements that have been made are directly genocidal. And here is a long thread of genocidal intent and ethnic cleansing. So, and this was put together by Maximilian. All right. So we've got a thread of genocidal intent. The first one is Ben Shapiro in 2003 promoting ethnic cleansing. All right. And this goes back to, I don't know, Town Hall. I don't know where he published this. But if you believe the Jewish state has a right to exist, then you must allow Israel to transfer the Palestinians and the Israeli Arabs from Judea, Samaria, Gaza, and Israel proper, where he doesn't have an answer, just transfer them. Right? It's an ugly, and this is like a 20-year-old Ben Shapiro, by the way. August 27, 2003. So he's been pushing propaganda, right? For more than 20 years, he's been pushing this nonsense. Right. Then we've got a former Israeli justice minister on the ethnic cleansing post October 7th. All right. That's this one here. All right. After we turn McGuiness into a soccer field, I'm sure there will be international pressure at some point, hopefully after we finish the job, to rehabilitate. It's just, the statements are maniacal. Each one of them should take a quota, 20 or 50,000, so that they too should shoulder the burden in order to allow them to leave. But they can never come back.
Right.
All right, we let them leave. We need to let them leave. 500,000 young people already emigrated. We need 2 million to leave. In honesty, that's the solution. Yes, ethnic cleansing. That's what she wants to do there. All right, so let me go back there.
Israel.
Yeah, it's the opposite. All right, so again, you've got this one, clear, straightforward objectives, land theft and ethnic cleansing. All right, we've got this over and over. We've got Ben-Gurion. He's well known in these circles already. Right? Outtake from speech of terror convict. To end the problem so that the problem doesn't return, we need two things. Return to Gaza now and encourage the residents to leave. That is the truth. It's the only way. Right. Encourage. By... Man. All right. Here's another one that they need to occupy Gaza and stay there. And again, he is a hardline extremist, more so than others even. All right, this is Middle East Eye.
אני מציע קודם כל שאנחנו לא נצא ממרכזי הערים בעזה.
We don't leave the city centers in Gaza.
ואני אומר את זה בצורה הכי מפורשת.
You want to stay there? Yes, occupy. But they don't occupy, right? They're not occupying. That's what they say. And what's really funny is that the graphics look very, very much like he could be sitting at MSNBC right now.
Yes.
Even though they're blurred out.
That is why they do it that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't suggest we leave the city centers, right? Right? If we decide we can do it, that's what we can do. Gross. All right? Again, their own statements. Don't take my word for it. Israeli policy documents on the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. All right? And again, this gets translated that in October 2023, forced displacement of Gaza civilians to Egypt would yield positive and long-term strategic results. Huh. I wonder what happened in October of 2023. All right, that was on the 13th.
I wonder.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So, and there are this thread. this thread has got statement upon minister, okay, Minister Feiglin, all right, quoting Hitler literally, all right, Aylor Levy,
רגע אחותו של מנהיג חמאס ואליאור לוי, ראש התחום הפלסטיני, אתה עם הפרטים על רצף החיסולים במשפחתו של הנייה וגם המסר שמעבירים ככה בישראל.
נכון, מיכל, תראי, שמסתכלים על זה, אז מתחילת המלחמה באופן בלתי מוכרז, ישראל פתחה במסע נקמה אישי נגד איסמעיל הנייה, כאשר בשמונת החודשים האחרונים ישראל מתנקשת בלא פחות מ-19 מבני משפחתו הקרובים. מהחמולה הכללית יש עוד כמה עשרות, כאשר בואי נראה כמה מהשמות...
I mean, they're just admitting that they're murdering these people's family. And then showing them, look at this, with that old lady with Target, his sister. With targets on them, like that's not genocidal, right?
אחותו, סבח הנייה, שגרה כאן בישראל בתל שבע, נעצרה כבר לפני כמה חודשים. יש אפשר...
Again, once they decide that they're a terrorist, there's no questioning it, ever. All right, I told the officer I perform a symphony with a D9 bulldozer, demolishing 50 buildings a week by myself. A 2-story house means nothing to us. We completely destroyed Jabalia and Rafah. We were on our way to destroy Beit Hanun and Beit Lahaya, but the agreement didn't give us enough time, so we only settled for destroying half of them. Wow. Like, just...
Yeah, they talked about when me and Colin last Wednesday covered a thing with Netanyahu that was like, yeah, no, we accepted the deal. Better to, destroy 99% and, then try to get 100 and not fit. It's like they're just fucking genocidal mathing this out, just trying to take as much land as possible before the consequences show up.
Right. And if any other country made these statements, it would not be considered normal by any stretch of any imagination, and we would likely go in there and destroy it. But of course, we're beholden. So then we've got again here's Smotrich, Tulkaram and Jenin will look like Jabalia and Shujaya, Nablus and Ramallah will look like Rafah and Khan Yunis. Just saying they're going to destroy the entire place, and that's what they're systematically doing. All right, here's another one. All these supposedly uninvolved, these subhumans. Yep. All right. With a deranged rant. I'm not even going to play this nonsense. But just the point is that you've got these compiled websites and threads of receipts. And this is why, by the way, Israel now wants to take down Twitter, because they want to take down threads like this too.
Yeah.
Then there will be nowhere for you to find anything that's critical of Israel anywhere in any that goes viral, because anything that's on TikTok is now being suppressed. I didn't bring any of that, but Ricky over at Council of State Media is saying that he's already starting to have his TikToks taken down. Same thing with Guy Christensen. I do have some videos from him. All right. But then we've got Smotrich peddling the destruction of Gaza within months. All right, it'll be completely destroyed with the Palestinian population forcibly displaced in large numbers to third countries. What third countries? Still no answer on that. Awful.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then it just keeps going and going and going. And it's, again, not one person. It's not one cabinet minister. It's not one member of the Knesset.
Mm-hmm.
It's systemic. It's
all of them.
It's most of them. Again, I wouldn't say all of them. That's like saying that all Americans are behind what we're doing, and we're not. But I would say that a large percentage, and as they continue to be surveyed and polled, a lot of them
right,
are, move the 1.8 somewhere quickly through the south into a sterilized humanitarian area. and give them food, and then the Trump plan. Transfer them to other countries. But he never says which other countries because he doesn't have an answer to that. And then they start with the
And they don't
nonsense.
care. They're like anywhere else.
Well, they've been pushing in the Hasbara, the propaganda is that the other Arab quote unquote nations should take them and the other Muslim countries should take them in.
Right.
But again, the biggest problem with that is by doing that, you then can see that Israel then has the right to the land and that you're acknowledging that they are the rightful now new owners of that land, and to never accept the people that were there and say that's their land, they deserve to have that forever. That's why the Arab world, for one reason that I see, will never accept the Palestinian people in defiance, in support of the Palestinian people, not to reject them at all, but to ensure that they continue to fight for their own and that the world continues to say, no, that is a Palestinian homeland. That's why I see it. And again, I could be wrong. But that's the way I've always seen why the Arab world rejects Israel and accepting Israel in general as an existing country, because they never accepted the UN proposition to begin with. Most of them never agreed to it, right? Those are the countries, the 21 Arab nations voted against it in 1948. Nobody ever talks about that. It's interesting. It wasn't quite unanimous. Not quite, because you were kind of taking people's land away and giving it to somebody else in a way. All right. And again, you've got just statement after statement here. Another member of the Knesset, Waldiger. We have to kill everyone, even the children. Ugh.
Yep.
I can't play these statements. We see them. They're here. You can see this for yourself. If you don't believe it. If you don't believe it, though, here. I wouldn't allow a drop of water
in. Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't allow until the hostages arrive. All right. Gross. All right. Here's member of the Knesset, Kish, before heading to a delegation in Auschwitz on genocide in Gaza. I don't care. There won't be any provisions. I mean,
real men eat quiche.
Hypocrisy. I mean, yes, Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is absolutely a tool of genocide. Anthony Aguilera has been talking about that.
Yeah, they got a fucking racist ass, biker gang running it. Literally.
Yep.
Motherfuckers got the leather and everything.
And again, this just keeps going and going. And this goes back, again, September 29th. This is just recent. Law for Palestine releases 500 plus instances of Israeli incitement. There's another link to more receipts, just in case you didn't have enough here. 255 instances. Here, the final nail in the coffin of genocide denial. Of course, the UN Commission of Inquiry concluding on reasonable grounds that Israel have committed and is continuing to commit the following actus reus of genocide against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. I mean, not only are they admitting it themselves, now, of course, the UN has acknowledged it. Now what? Well, how about this 9-point plan? Number 1, dismantle the Israeli military and denuclearize the state of Israel. Enough of this denial bullshit. Number 2, empty Israel's torture dungeons of the 10,000 plus Palestinian political prisoners and Palestinian hostages that they consider to be prisoners because they didn't commit any crime, haven't been charged, and aren't allowed to see a lawyer. Free Dr. Hussam Abu Safia, for example. We need to ensure a swift withdrawal of 100% of Israeli civilians and soldiers from 100% of the territories occupied in the June 1967 war. You know, that can also be turned around. As these crazy ministers of the Knesset were saying, well, they need to go somewhere. You've got a couple million people, have each country take in 30, 40, 50,000. Well, why not do that for the Israelis then, right? Oh,
Right.
You don't like it when it's turned around on you? Oh.
That already have dual citizenship.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It works
Like-
both ways, pal. All right. Send a UN-backed international coalition of doctors, medical workers, aid workers, backed by an armed protection force to provide immediate relief to genocide survivors in Gaza. That would be nice. You know, there are already some that are there that are constantly being bombed and shelled, and a bunch that were Palestinian that have been shot and have been taken off the playing field, of course, completely by design. By sniper fire. I didn't bring that one, but oh my God, a drone went into a hospital and murdered a doctor by shooting him in the head this week. In Gaza, in one of those hospitals. That's the few that are actually left that are makeshift. All right. Next, we need to facilitate talks among Palestinian factions to enable Palestinian elections, self-determination, and statehood. We need to de-radicalize the Israeli Jewish school system. I would say disband it entirely, but yes, de-radicalize that entire agenda. Allow Palestinian refugees the right to return to the country that they, their parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents were forcibly expelled from. All right. And arrest, prosecute, and punish those thousands of Israeli political, military, and media elites responsible for the Holocaust of the 21st century. And I wouldn't stop with Israeli. I would continue on to the US. I'd continue on to the UK. I'd continue on to Australia even. And most of the other NATO leaders that sent support, Germany for sure. Yeah, they should all be brought up on a Nuremberg style hearing. All right. So that is Zach Foster. So give him a follow, historian of Palestine. All right. And then there is finally what the end game for all of this was, and what the intent was from the beginning, was the Ben-Gurion Canal and reshaping the entire Middle East. They wanted that land because they want the resources underneath it, and they want an unobstructed path and to create what they want. They consider to be the Ben-Gurion Canal. I'll put more in the thumbnail and lay out where this is going to go and a map of it, because I thought there was one here. I've also got a Richard Medhurst clip that I want to show about this and exactly what the Ben-Gurion Canal is. All right, but this is from Middle East Monitor from September 17th. Gaza's genocide, the Ben-Gurion Canal, and the politics of reconstruction, which is erasure by design. All right. And let me make this a little bigger so everyone can see it. Again, Middle East Monitor. Rajan Solomon. Support independent media. These are the kind of folks that get suppressed. All right. Is that the violence in Gaza is not simply episodic slaughter. It's an engineered campaign of erasure, of lives, of livelihoods, memory, and geography. The oldest church in the history of the world was here in Gaza. They've just leveled it. The oldest library, the oldest soap factory, ancient stuff that has been standing for thousands of years. And Israel just doesn't give a shit. They're leveling the whole thing. They're done. The Independent UN Commission of Inquiry again concluded in June that the pattern of killing, denial of life-sustaining services, and rhetoric of some Israeli officials meet the threshold of genocide. Francesca Albanese, of course, is the UN rapporteur on genocide in Gaza and in Palestinian territories. She's been screaming for a year plus that, yes, they're systematically trying to wipe them out. Yep. To understand what's being lost, we must follow not only the bombs, but the canals how water, land, and sea are being weaponized, how grand infrastructure fantasies, above all, the idea of a Ben-Gurion Canal, are being deployed to normalize the dispossession. Across Gaza, water systems, sewage plants, and desalination facilities have been repeatedly destroyed or rendered inoperable. Again, Reef's covered that, how they filled in wells with cement, right, on INN News.
Yep. As well as cast thy bread, going way back, putting typhoid in the water and whatnot.
Right, and hallucinogenics. And then they were giving, they were lacing the flour with, what was it? Some kind of medication that would mess them up.
I mean, pick your poison.
Ibuprofen, maybe? I don't remember what it was. All right, but
yeah.
The UN Office for Coordination on Humanitarian Affairs confirmed that the children line for hours for brackish water while sewage floods streets and disease spreads in overcrowded camps. Yes, what looks like collateral damage is in fact strategy. Without clean water, sanitation, schools, and hospitals, a society cannot reproduce itself, and the memory becomes harder to anchor in place. So, the Ben-Gurion Canal is not an idle technical curiosity. First imagined in the 1960s as an Israeli alternative to the Suez, the project has been revived in recent years as planners and boosters tout visionary fixes to regional trade. Proposals suggest linking the Red Sea near Eilat to the Mediterranean, creating a new maritime corridor bypassing the Suez and cutting through the Negev Desert and southern Levant. On its face, the canal promises jobs, ports, and revitalization. In practice, it exposes how reconstruction is being weaponized. Building a canal on this scale would demand vast land acquisition, demolition, and environmental upheaval. If routed alongside or through Gaza's littoral, or as some variant suggests, it becomes an explicit instrument for territorial re-engineering, carving out maritime access, dispossessing communities, and of course, embedding a securitized corridor under Israeli or foreign control. Kind of like, we control the Panama Canal to a point. Although I think we've now given it back, and now the ends are owned by BlackRock, although there was an upheaval about China buying part of it. We're still running the ends of it through BlackRock. We control the gates, as Descent in Bloom wrote, I remember a while ago. So I'm going to stop on this one. I want to show the Richard Medhurst video because it's a really good one. This is from 2 years ago. He talked about this. Again, to show you that this did not start October 7th, although this was after that.
Yeah.
The truth is that the war in Gaza has enormous economic incentives behind it for the US, for the EU, and for Israel. I mentioned some of these in part 1, and I'm going to expand on my analysis in this part 2. See, Israel and the United States have been planning for decades to build what is called the Ben-Gurion Canal. This is a rival to the infamous Suez Canal in Egypt. This Ben-Gurion Canal would begin at the port city of Eilat and finish right next to, if not directly through, Gaza. The Americans hatched this secret plan with the Israelis in 1963 to detonate over 500 nuclear bombs in the Negev Desert with the aim of building this Ben-Gurion Canal.
Yep.
This goes without saying, the Suez Canal is one of the most important, quintessential geostrategic assets on the planet. It connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea. It is so important to global trade that in 1956, Israel, Britain, and France literally attacked Egypt because it dared to nationalize the Suez Canal, its own territory. Let that give you an idea how important this is economically. It's situated at the intersection of 3 continents and 2 bodies of water. It cuts shipping times and shipping costs by so much that today, 12% of global trade, 30% of global container traffic pass through the Suez Canal. This is why Israel are absolutely obliterating Gaza. They want no more Palestinians and no more resistance.
Uno scopo, distruggere Gaza. Distruggere questo male assoluto.
Egyptian President Sisi was told in the last weeks that if he accepts Israel's plan to take Palestinians from Gaza and put them in the Sinai Desert, that Israel will pay for this, and the United States will wipe Egypt's national debt. Look at that. And the third aspect about the River Nile. You see, Ethiopia, which is Egypt's neighbor, built something in 2011 called the Renaissance Dam, which cut water to both Sudan and Egypt. And this is, it's caused a huge argument ever since. Now, Ethiopia has a significant Jewish population. The United States, and specifically Israel, could theoretically lean on Ethiopia, as they have done before, and pressure it not to fill up its reservoirs, which is very good for Egypt, and shall we say would incentivize Egypt to take in people from Gaza. You see, you need to understand this Ben-Gurion Canal is the last piece of the puzzle. It will cement the Americans' and Israelis' control over the world's most important shipping lane, giving them total control over maritime trade. So follow me down the map. The Red Sea, which would feed into the Ben-Gurion Canal, it already has a huge presence of American and Israeli troops. Did you know, for example, that Israel's largest military base is located in the Red Sea on Dahlak Island in Eritrea? This base was hit by Yemen in the last few days in support of Gaza because Yemen is an integral part of the resistance axis. Yemen is located right next to Eritrea in a crucial area. I mean, we're talking about the Gulf of Aden. We're talking about the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Thousands, tens of thousands of ships pass this area every year, including a large percentage of the world's petroleum vessels. The US have been trying for decades to control this important shipping lane by putting troops right opposite Yemen, in Djibouti, in Somalia, and what is called the Horn of Africa. The Americans have tried to control this area by attacking Yemen from the rear, using Saudi Arabia, using other Gulf countries, doing their own drone strikes. This war lasted for over 6 years. It devastated Yemen, and the media barely covered it. Another one of Yemen's important geostrategic assets is the beautiful island of Socotra, which is located, talk about geostrategic. It's located between the Horn of Africa, the Gulf of Aden, the Arabian Sea, and the Indian Ocean. See, the UAE, after normalizing ties with Israel, they helped Israel to put spy bases and establish a military presence on Socotra Island. The importance of this Bab el-Mandeb Strait is that both Iran and China need to use this shipping lane for Iran to export fuel and for China as the world's largest economy and largest trading partner of most countries. There is de facto already an entire Cold War taking place right up the Gulf Coast in the Strait of Hormuz. The tanker war. You see, what happens is that the US and Israel, they try to sink Iranian fuel ships, and then Iran responds in kind. You see, Britain also tried playing this stupid game as well in the Strait of Gibraltar. Yep. They hijacked an Iranian ship, and only when Iran did the same to a British ship did they finally, get the message and let the Iranian ship go. The US have gone so far as to even steal Iranian fuel tankers and sell off the cargo. A practice that is commonly referred to as piracy. Later on, in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, up into the Red Sea, and of course, by replacing the Suez Canal with the Ben-Gurion Canal. This final piece of the puzzle will allow the US and Israel to dominate world maritime trade. They can use this not only to the benefit of their own economies, but to damage and to attack other countries' economies, like China, like Iran, Egypt, Syria, Lebanon. This is literally highway robbery on the high seas. And the Ben-Gurion Canal is key to all of this. Egypt could stop this war in Gaza right now by shutting down the Suez Canal. It is bewildering that they don't do this. If not for Gaza's sake, do it for your own sake. Egypt's economy is going to be leveled if this Ben-Gurion Canal is built. It will completely undermine the Suez Canal. Where is Saudi Arabia? Why don't they threaten to cut oil production for 1 week, 1 bloody day, just to stop this war? Or is there something in it for them where God to be leveled and replaced with this canal? Where are the Arabs? Where are the Muslims? Look at the European Union. They have nothing in common with each other except geography. They have over 24 languages. Whereas the Arab world, from Morocco to Oman, have a common tongue, common geography, common religion, common history, and common culture. I mean, this automatically makes them a global superpower, not to mention the natural resources, the geographical landmass and the population, which are essential factors and criteria of hard power.
In the Arab city of Cordoba were 2 miles of public lighting in the streets
Lawrence
when
of
London
Arabia.
was a village.
It's not only the size of the Arab world, but look at the straits. All the vital straits are located in Arab countries. The Strait of Gibraltar, which is Jabal Tariq, the Suez Canal, the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, and the Strait of Hormuz between Iran and Oman. European colonial powers understood this a long time ago, how powerful Arab countries could be, and they planted Israel right smack dab in the middle to sow chaos and try to win over these Arab kingdoms, bring them over to their side and make them normalize ties with Israel. All these borders in the Middle East did not exist until 1916, until the same European powers that back Israel today drew them. This is the Middle East before, and this is the Middle East after Sykes-Picot, after the French and the British ruined it. This divide and conquer strategy is all about carving up the Arab world, creating instability, and controlling resources and the straits.
Sounds like balkanization in a way, right? Like that's what it reminds me of. You know, that's basically been the plan for Russia too. Let me refresh that and get back to 731.
These powers, they always play this sectarian card. You know, they love to pit Sunni against Shia. They did this in Iraq, they did it in Lebanon, and now they try to do it between Arabs and try to pit them against Iran. In Palestine, they tell you, oh, it's about Jews against Muslims. No, it absolutely bloody isn't. The West are afraid of unity between Arabs themselves and between Arabs and Muslim countries. This war has nothing to do with Hamas. That's not what it's about. You know why people are wondering, how is this mass slaughter of civilians happening? The ardent support for Israel from the West.
Europe stands with Israel.
As we stand steadfast with Israel.
The United States stands with Israel.
Why are they allowing this to happen in broad daylight? They won't even call for a ceasefire. What's controversial about that? The answer is because this is their project too. This is also a European and American imperialist project, and they are complicit. This long-term plan concerns and screws the whole region. It will impact everybody in the Middle East negatively. And that is precisely why the whole resistance axis, Palestine, Yemen, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, are all involved in this fight on multiple fronts.
Okay, so then Palestine
and Russia and China
Iraq,
on top of that.
Well, Yemen they're systematically going after. Syria and Lebanon they're already going after. So Iraq would be next, then Iran, then Russia and China. I also want to give a shout out really quick. The logo up there and in the bottom left corner are designed by friend of the show and one of the OG fams, Mona Carmona, actually designed that for Richard. So I always smile every time I see that logo with the lion in the Palestinian flag colors and the RM logo up there. Good.
Russia and China as being also complicit in this economically.
Well, yes, in that they are not sanctioning or taking action against any of it. Yeah, because they're going to profit and they'll be fine either way. So, again, shout out to Indie Media Award honoree Richard Medhurst. Richard, of course, is being censored heavily in the UK right now under Section 12. He's still somewhat active over on Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it, at Richie Medhurst. He does an occasional live stream, but not very often. But, you know, again, hate to see him muzzled. Nobody should be censored for having views like this, but we kind of have all kind of expected that this was how it was going to be, especially in the UK. And he's also apparently been charged with something in Austria, even though we haven't seen any statements yet. Still waiting to hear what's going to come out of that. The only one I know that's actually being charged in 2 different countries. So he wears that badge with honor, I'm sure. So we are not being monetized on our YouTube channel. So if you're able to and a means, please support the media you want to see. Those are the people that have supported INN already. That's our wall of fame. The ways to do that are Cash App, $, Indie News Network. We got Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network. We got paypal.me/Indie News Network. And IndieNewsNow.com is our self-hosted website. And then we've got INNNewsletter.com. We're going to be later, we'll be live later for boats, smashing into other boats over at INN Newsletter. And we're going to be uncensored. So no YouTube tonight. We'll be on Rumble on the Ocho. We'll be on BitChute. We'll be on, I think, Kick, maybe. But we'll be on Odyssey. So we'll be on all those places and INN Newsletter and Indie News Now. So we'll be all those places. Yeah, it's insane. All those Nazi style statements. I saw a couple of people saying that it's gross what's going on, and the fact that they're still allowed to exist as a country. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Steve Gale's Free Richard Medhurst. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. But yeah, that video is from a couple of years ago, amazingly enough. And he saw what was coming and that they need to stop the plans for the Ben-Gurion Canal. No, okay. So Sean's not on Twitter, so yeah, it'd be hard to see him anywhere else. He's done a couple of YouTube streams or Rumble streams, but not very many lately. Support independent media because we need it more than ever. And we'll see you soon. Love y'all. Bye, everyone.
Hasta la vista, baby.
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want?